Okay, so basically what I've been up to creative-wise over the last 2 months, probably I've been working on the online card classes website. They do those card classes. And I've done they've got 3 watercolor ones. So I did the first watercolor one when it first came out way back when. And then another second one, Exploring Mediums, happened in September 2015, except I didn't get to participate because I was way too busy and everything else. And then they recently just finished the intermediate class. So, not that I have actually completed many cards, but I have many backgrounds from these 2 card classes. So I've sort of been playing around with watercolors and doing lots of stuff. So like just background washes. This was a part of the Exploring Mediums class, so was this one, and just doing washes. So just with different mediums, different techniques. So I'm just sort of clicking through. I really love this one. It was using a stencil, and then you put watercolors in it. It turned out really nice. And this was a freehand flamingo, so I was pretty happy with that I did this freehand. So yeah, and then I used, this was the no line stamp watercoloring example, this was still in the Exploring Medium ones. So then the intermediate one was a little bit more advanced. So these are the sort of things we've been doing with the intermediate one. So there was this one here, a few more backgrounds, this gorgeous one here, which I really love, and then a few other bits and pieces, and just practicing washes and a freehand rose, which I overworked it. But anyway, it's my first and I really like it. And then just a practice page that I've had. So I've been kind of on a watercolor kick. So part of the intermediate card class, they sort of went through, you know, the benefits of good paper and everything like that. And they've also used a lot of tube watercolors, and so I have been a bit interested in those. So the last time I went to our local art store, I just sort of been doing a lot of research on good quality art tubes, because if I'm going to spend the money, I'm just going to get 1 or 2, like I'm just going to get the good stuff right off the bat, not waste my money buying sort of like the in-between stuff and then slowly upgrading and blah blah. I would just rather get the good stuff now. And I have been watercoloring for probably 2.5 years now, and really enjoying it. So I know I really like the medium. It's not sort of a new thing to me, and seeing, do you like it or don't you like it? So it's sort of been like on a very big research path over the last couple of months, because I can't do anything without researching it like extensively. So part of that research was when I was at the local art store, I picked up this Daniel Smith extra fine. It's a 238 colored dot chart. So basically there's a dot of every single color of their paint on this thing, and it's like normal tube paint. You just use your brush, you know, water, pick it up, and then you can paint with it. This was the little color chart I did, so I could actually have a color chart of everything they've got on. I used Arches cold press paper, so I'd actually have a good representation of color. Because one thing we learned in the card class was your student grade papers, like your Canson XL or your Strathmore 400 series, they're student grade, and they don't take the water as well, and the colors are less vibrant on them. So I wanted to use Arches paper, even though it's super expensive, but at least I know exactly what the colors are. So I got this, and then part of my watercolor exploration research was trying to source some of these really amazing silver black velvet brushes, but not from the US. And I was super successful. I'm telling you guys, there's a place in WA, and it was silkwholesalers.com.au is their website, and they sell the entire range of silver black velvet 3000 series brushes. And even better, they're like only $2 more than what you'd pay on Simon Says Stamp. So definitely recommend. I had it within a week, and that's coming from like across the country. I'm in Victoria and they're in WA, so super happy. So I got 3 brush sizes. I already had number 4, so I also got a number 6 and a number 8 round. I have to say, I really, after using them, I really love the silver black velvet brushes. Like, you get to hold lots of water in the body, and it comes to really fine point when it's wet. So I've had lots of success and fun using these. I also picked up a mop brush for doing like big washes. So this was actually really inexpensive. These ones here are, I don't know, $16, you know, for a brush sort of thing, whereas this one was only $12 with this big one. So I should also say that this one is, the bristles are both squirrel and synthetic, and this one was goat hair. So they are using different fibers in the brush bristles. So this is just so I can do a big wash and make it very beautiful. And yes, so I bought these as well. And a part of my research led me, I've been watching a lot, oh sorry, I also picked up the actual printed color chart, which also has the information, I forgot to tell you. There's like a key down here that sort of tells you what all of these little symbols mean that are underneath each one, which sort of tell you how light fast they are, how transparent they are, and if they have a granulation, which is like a grain, a roughness to them when they dry. It looks rough, not super smooth. So that was the Daniel Smith stuff. And I think I will actually buy a couple of these tubes, but while I'm sort of discussing all this watercolor stuff, there is the artshops.com.au, and it is Melbourne-based store, which I haven't been to in person, but I picked up it has Inktense pencils, and I did an order from there here. Sorry, I haven't pulled them out, but this is the full range now of Inktense pencils. So I originally found this website for the Inktense pencils because I wanted to buy them singly, and they are like the single pencil specialist. They have like so much good stuff, and they have a $10 standard shipping rates. I hope I'm not jumping around too much for you guys. But anyway, so I got my Inktense pencils there. I bought my original set from these guys as well way back when of 36, and have been slowly adding to all the colors. And over Christmas I had 14 colors that I did not have, so I just thought that I would pick them up. And while I was on that website, I just thought, oh, I wonder what else they have now that I've actually started paying attention to like actual art supplies, not so much just craft supplies as well. And I noticed that they stock a lot of amazing art products, including like the top of the line brand of paints and everything else. And as far as their tube price goes, I've been comparing them with a lot of other places, and they're actually $2 or $3 cheaper than most places. So if you want to look for any sort of art store or art supplies, not as much craft supplies, they didn't have, like they've got your Prismacolor pencils and your Inktense pencils and those sorts of things, but they're primarily like a artist store or artist supply store. And like they had the Archer's paper, and it was $10 less than what I've seen it at our local store. It was only $32 instead of, you know, $42 and things like that. So I was really impressed with what else they had. So I've just been doing research so far, and then I was looking at these thinking, you know what, there's a few of these I really do like. So there's the quinacridone coral, which is that beautiful coral color there, and the quinacridone gold, which doesn't look like much there, but when it's mixed with these pinks and any reds, it just turns into these stunning ones. Which is, so like this one here was done with just two colors. It was alizarin crimson and quinacridone gold. So you can see the beautiful different mixes you can get with it, and I really love these colors, so I wanted to get the quinacridone gold and coral. They've also got this Primatech ones, which are, they're actual paints that have been crushed from like actual rocks. So they're the ones with little tiny asterisks on them, and there was a couple, and they have a, because they're real rocks, they have a shimmer, sort of like a, from the actual rocks that come through into the paints. So the ones I really loved was the kyanite and the sergalite. I think that's how you say it. But it's basically this dusty blue color, which I really like for like night skies or any type of skies, water, that sort of thing. And the sergalite, which is like a dusty purple, both night sky sort of orientation. So that's what I really loved about those two. And then there was a bronzed goldy one, which is bronzite there. So those were my picks out of the ones here. Like there's lots and lots of amazing colors. But I've kind of scaled back what I'm going to do and what I'm going to invest in, just because of price. So when I was scrolling through this website looking at what does everything cost and all that sort of stuff, the little itty bitty 5 ml tubes, which will only fill a couple of half pans, like they start at $15. It's for one color, and they go up to like $45, and that's for the little tubes. So here in Australia, it's not really a viable option to go down the Daniel Smith watercolors, like not in any quantity, at least not from what I want to spend either. So I'm happy with my dot chart. I can definitely play around with all of these. I've managed to do a few backgrounds already with just these colors. So like that one I just showed you, I used purely this dot chart, just that alizarin crimson and the background gold. And I got that whole background, and I still have a little bit of color of each of them left. So this dot chart is definitely usable to make projects and to try out all the colors. And while I've been trying to also follow a lot of artist blogs and just see what sort of products they're using. Not so much crafter blogs. The research I was doing was on watercolor paints, not so much craft supplies. So I've been trying to follow the watercolor artists, and then the brand that came up over and over and over again as their #1 pick for their main source of watercolors was the Schmincke Horadam. Schmincke Horadam is how you say it, Schmincke, like that. And then a lot of the artists were using Daniel Smith's to get, a few other colors that weren't in the range, sort of thing. So I really liked that idea, and then I went down the path of researching these Schmincke Horadam, and they're not as expensive as the Daniel Smith one, but it's still a huge investment. And if it wasn't Christmas and it wasn't something that I've spent 2 or 3 years doing watercolor to begin with, and I love them, I really wanted to invest in something that was good quality and not spend my money on a student grade and then work my way up to spend all that money on the student grade one and then only to, in 3 years' time, upgrade to the professional watercolors anyway. So I decided to skip that in-between step and just go to the good ones. I know I like watercoloring, so why not get the good ones to begin with? So this was the one that I've seen on all the artists, and there was no bad reviews about it at all, sort of thing. So I really liked that idea. So then it went down to where am I going to get this? And can I viably get this anytime soon? And how expensive? And it's on Dick Blink, and they've got, it's $190 for a tin with 24 colors and $40 for the 48 color set, plus postage and all that sort of stuff. And I just sort of thought, oh well, I'm just going to have to wait till I go next overseas and buy it. Because in Canada and in Australia, with the exchange rate, the recommended retail price was $540, which is just insane for the set that I wanted, which was the 48 half pan set. So I kind of gave up on it, and then I was just typed in Schmincke 48, whatever, and larrypost.com.au website came up, and they had a special on for over $100 off. So I was so excited, and I ended up buying it, which is what you see in front of you. So they're based near Sydney. I had free shipping because I spent over $100, so it didn't cost me anything more on shipping, and it was $399 for the set. That was I saved, like I said, it was actually $140 that I saved. So that's why I invested in it now, because I found such a great price, and it was, not that much more. Like the Dick Blink price was 35% off recommended retail price in the US. So I knew I was getting a good deal, this being the price that it is, plus problems with exchange and everything else. So this is what the tin looks like. And I should also mention that Larry Post, I ordered it on the weekend, and I had it Monday afternoon.